In table 9.1, it's going to point out the processes that either create acidic soils or create more alkaline soils. And there's a lot of things going on here. Your book goes into detail about each one of these. I just wanted to point out that depending on where we are, depending on the soil type that we're in, depending on the parent material, the time, the biology, all those soil forming factors, those will give us these different activities. Some of the ones that maybe that we could talk about just real shortly. Number one is well, back to the pen. The first one here, formation of carbonic acid from CO2. So when carbon dioxide, which is naturally in the atmosphere, dissolves into the water, so carbon dioxide gas actually dissolves into soil water. The soil is higher in carbon dioxide. So when that happens, you actually get a release of hydrogen ions. Okay, and you can look at equation 9.1 in your book to see that carbon dioxide plus water, and it ends up giving you a release of hydrogen ions. Well, the more hydrogen ions we have in our soil solution, the more acidic our soil solution becomes. This one here happens on things like organic matter. So organic matter can have these tail ends like this here, and those can release that hydrogen depending upon what's going on in the soil. Another one, cation uptake by plants, and this would be basic cation uptake. So a plant root comes into the area and will take up calcium and magnesium and potassium into its roots and make the concentration of those basic cations less in the soil. So naturally, the soil will have a higher concentration of hydrogen. We can have other things happen on the other end. We can have this process that we talked about here with organic matter reversed, and those hydrogens go back onto those organic matter sites. We can have the nitrogen, sulfur, and ion compounds that instead of oxidizing are now reducing and consuming hydrogen. So here again, alkalinizing H-ion consuming processes. So if we're measuring the hydrogen ion concentration in the soil solution, if we want to raise the pH, we want to look for those things that are happening in the soils that will consume hydrogen. And there's lots of those sorts of things that are happening in soils. You can read more about those these particular things are all outlined in your book. But I just wanted to point out again that it's not just a static thing. So we don't just measure the soil pH and have the hydrogen concentration identified and then hands off and nothing else happens. No, well, we have rainfall that happens. We have soil with less rainfall. So what does that do in terms of acidifying or making that soil basic, or what will it have happen? We have all these processes always ongoing in soils that are either pushing it more towards the lower pH side or towards the higher pH side. So soil is, again, it's a really dynamic body of substance to be dealt with. So.